on the Tim Conley drums. First off, I want to get started by thanking all the people who commented on my last video. You guys are terrific. I really appreciated the positive comments. I appreciated the feedback, the suggestions, all of it. Every single one of you, I sincerely want to reach out and thank you because it means the world to me. It means so much to all of us YouTube creators. Every creator develops a following for different reasons. There's something that creator does that draws a crowd. And drummers in particular are usually a very warm, loving, and wonderful crowd, and I can see it on my channel. So I really want to welcome you to my channel if you're new, and I want to thank those that always watch me and that comment and leave powerful, inspiring, and motivating suggestions. So that's why I am here today. I'm trying to find some new ground for my channel. You guys have spoken. Apparently the stories is what seems to drive the channel at this point. Nobody wants me to stop. So I'm going to keep doing some stories and telling you guys about things that go on the gig, off the gig, any band related stuff, okay? Now today I'm going to talk about what happens when things go wrong at a gig. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of stories where things went wrong on the gig. Nobody's fault, just things went wrong. So I can remember playing a wedding gig one time, and it was an outdoor wedding, and we were of course hired to play the music to people to dance to after the ceremony was over and the reception began. Now, prior to us, in the initial actual ceremony, there was a harpist and I believe a violinist, if I'm not mistaken. So they had hired two separate, or technically three separate musicians, meaning my band, the harpist, and the violinist. So they did their thing, everything went fine. When we went to set up all our gear, we're outdoors. We were in I'll say a tarped environment, meaning that there was a tarp over top of us. They had rented a stage. It was fairly large, actually. The stage was decent, and it was tarped. But as I'm outside getting set up, the ceremony is taking place down the street at a church. I'm looking up at the sky, and I'm saying to my bandmates, I hope it doesn't rain. Now, the forecast said it might rain, 40% chance. But it did not detail what was going to happen in terms of a big storm or anything like that, or hail or whatever. It's unpredictable, right? Now, as far as time of year, I think this was around May, and it was probably about 12, 13 years ago. I'm sort of guessing. But I do remember the events of that particular day. So, setting up, looking at the sky, checking the weather report. Let's hope. Ceremony's over. The wedding party and everybody, all the guests were talking. It was a large wedding, probably 300 people. They all come over to the venue where we are going to be performing for the reception. There's all the tables and everything set up. We're all set up. We're there and we're waiting. So they all start piling in. Everything is going well. The dinner starts to get served. Now keep in mind, the only area that's covered, there is a building that's, where they also have indoor venue stuff as well. These people opted for an outdoor wedding at a venue. I guess it's for ambiance because it was a very beautiful property, but still kind of strange that they didn't want to be inside. But anyways, I don't question people's choices. I'm just there to perform. So we start They start doing their thing, eating dinner. We get a meal out of the gig, which was great. So we got paid, we got a meal. That part of it was great. Speeches start. It starts to get dark. Now they've got lighting set up. And I do remember where the food was. They had a tented area where the food was. But where the bride and groom and everybody's tables were, there was nothing covering them. It was just an open area. So the band is tented, technically, with the tarp, and the food area, which was a fairly large area for people to line up. It was one of those ones where, buffet style wedding, you line up and get your own food. It was also covered as well. Smart. But let me tell you what happened. We finally start to do our thing. I think it was close to 9, 8:45, 9 o'clock. Anyways, we start playing, the groom and bride songs that they had requested, the ballads and everything. So we started playing, and we of course did the ballad songs that are usually required at weddings. And I remember Whitney Houston, and I Will Always Love You being their wedding song. Anyways, we start playing, everything is fine, and then all of a sudden, the skies go black. The wind picks up. Like, I'm talking, the wind got crazy, and things are starting to get blown around, and the wind is really picking up. And I can remember we were playing, we're just started. We're probably into our 5th or 6th song, and all of a sudden I can see tables, the tablecloth starting to rise. I can see the plates starting to rattle. I can hear the sound of things hitting, and I'm like, oh no, this is gonna go bad. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the downpour. It starts mercilessly pouring rain. It started off slow, fairly slow, but then before anybody knew what hit them, the wind, a little bit of rain, and then goosh, the clouds opened up, insane rain. Everybody ran over to where the food area was and up on the stage with us. So we didn't know what to do. I remember we were still playing as this rain starts to hit, and all the people rush the stage. Now, normally, when people rush the stage at a gig, it's because they're excited for the music. And they don't normally come right up on the stage, but they'll rush and stand right in front of the stage, and they're dancing and enjoying the music. So this is a totally different scenario, because everybody is clamoring to get on the stage area, because in front of the stage, you're still going to get soaked. It's only the stage itself that's covered. So the stage is in the shape of like a cake, like a rectangular cake. That's the stage setup. So we're still playing, and all these people jump up on the stage with us, and most of the people were actually kind of laughing and disappointed, but at the same time just sort of dealing with it. Anyways, we didn't know what to do, but I just signaled to everybody, just keep playing, just keep playing. So we're playing, and all these people are on the stage with us. And I can remember, I've never had this happen where I'm playing and there's got to be 20 people crammed onto the stage, to the point where, the bass player's like this, guitar player is like, doing the same thing, singer's like, what are all these people doing on here? Anyways, I look over at the table area, and it's pretty much getting decimated. The tables are getting knocked over. Everything is getting soaked. The whole thing is getting ruined. I'm like, oh my God, this is a wrecked wedding. And I just didn't understand the whole thing. Like I said, it's not my place to question people why they do the things they do, but this was so bizarre that they didn't think about, well, what happens if it rains? Other than the stage being covered, and like I said, the food area being covered. So most of the people had run over to the food area. A lot of people clambered onto the stage. Unfortunately, it did not let up for quite some time. So people were on the stage and they slowly made their way off the stage over to the food area because we just couldn't function. We eventually had to stop because it was just too crowded on that stage. And it was a confusion thing because it's like, now what do we do? Bizarre situation that just never ever happens. This was the only wedding that I ever played, and I played lots and lots of weddings because I used to play in an actual wedding band. The band that was playing this gig was my band. It wasn't a wedding band. We did everything: corporate, bars, ticketed venues, you name it. We did a wide variety of gigs and a lot of corporate stuff, as I recall, and a fair number of weddings. And this particular wedding did not go well. So I get off the stage and I go down and I track down the bride and the groom. Of course, they're not really too concerned with the band at this point because they got other stuff going on. They're trying to figure out how they're going to salvage their night. And unfortunately, the night did not get salvaged. They told us to shut down, and we'd only played, I think we carried on after the rain started. We might have played one set, and then we shut down, and then we were told to shut down by the bride and the groom and the groom's father, I think, and the whole wedding was ruined. It was ugly, and the bride was in tears. The groom was not happy. The whole thing was just messed up. Anyways, the venue ended up coming out and saying, come inside. But we couldn't carry all our gear in and transfer everything over there. It was just way too much work for us. So the people ended up going inside to the actual, indoor facility. However, there was another event going on. I think it was also a wedding, as I recall. I think another wedding was going on, but because of the weather situation outside, they allowed the people from this wedding to go in. So can you imagine the number of people jamming into somebody else's wedding? I'm gonna be honest, I just packed up. When we were told to shut down and it's over, we packed up. I went and talked to the groom's dad because he was the guy paying us. He paid us in full, even though I said to him, you don't have to pay us in full. Just give us a portion. I think I asked for about a third of what we were getting paid or something, just so we could cover our costs to get to and from the venue and maybe just make a few bucks because we really didn't do a heck of a lot. He ended up paying me in full. He insisted, paid me in cash, which was awesome. And I remember saying to him, you do not have to do this. But he paid us in full. They all piled in, joined this other wedding. We packed up and left. I did speak to the bride and groom after. They apologized to me because we didn't get to play. And I'm like, you don't have to apologize to us. We feel bad for you. I mean, we didn't have to apologize to them, the weather and whatnot, and wasn't our fault. The only thing I did ask them though was, and I wasn't trying to be rude to them or make them seem like they were stupid or anything like that, but I'm like, did you check the forecast and or did you have a backup plan if things went bad? And I already knew the answer, but I still wanted to hear it from them. They said no. So the whole thing went down in hell, so to speak. It did not go well for them, but all in all, they still got married. Their reception was a total failure, but what can you do, Now, weather oftentimes does play a factor into gigs, which leads me to my second quicker story. And I can remember it was an incredibly snowy, icy, crazy weather day. And I can remember telling the venue manager just to let them know. I called our agent, I called the venue manager, and I emailed the manager as well on top of calling him. And I said to them, we may not come and do this gig because of the weather conditions. It's really bad weather, and we may not be able to make this particular gig. So at first he was okay with it. And he said, yeah, I understand. Just let us know, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sounds good. So I was actually like, wow, that actually went easier than I thought. I told the agent the same thing. Now the agent, greasy monkeys that they are, tries to, oh no, it's going to be fine. I just checked the forecast. It's going to slow down and whatever. Meanwhile, they're calling for the ice storm of the century. So I'm like, I don't know what forecast you're reading. Might be Florida, because here in Canada, we are getting a crazy ice storm, and I don't think we're going to be able to do the gig. And I told him, I contacted the venue, I emailed the venue, I actually spoke to the manager, and he seemed to be okay. He was pretty understanding. Okay. So, get off the phone, day progresses. Later on, I think it was around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, I get a phone call from our agent rather, and he says, I just got off the phone with the manager of the venue that you're playing at. They want to know what the hell's going on. So I said, okay, I'm going to tell you right now we're canceling. And then he says, yeah, you shouldn't do that. He's very upset. He doesn't want you guys to cancel, but he does want to know what's going on. Don't cancel. Just go and do the gig. And I'm like, dude, I'm not driving miles, because it was in Streetsville. The gig was in Streetsville. I live in Hamilton. It's about an hour and a half, maybe not that long, but over an hour. But it would have been 2 hours, maybe even longer, 3 hours in this weather condition. And outside, the weather's getting worse and worse and worse. It's getting crazy out there. I told my bandmates, we're not doing this gig because of the weather, and I'm not putting myself and you guys at risk. And nobody's going to show up. Who's going to show up? So then I get off the phone with the agent. He's not happy with me. I call the venue. I talk to the manager again. He's not happy with me, but I explained the situation. I said, look, man, we're putting ourselves in danger. Nobody's going to show up. You're not going to make any money anyways. So you might as well save yourself a few bucks, because you don't have to pay us. Well, he hummed and hawed. He was very upset. And, he started to turn into a threatening situation where, well, we're going to have to reconsider if we want to hire you guys back again. And I was just like, this is ridiculous. And I pointed out to him again the weather situation. And I tried to reason with him in the sense of, do you really want us to risk our lives to come out to play in your venue with 6 drunken people? The regulars might walk over. But other than that, nobody is going to be there. By the way, I found out afterwards there was only 2 people that actually showed up that whole night. I found out because I called and spoke to the bartender, and she told me 2 people showed up that night. So the guy then, so we get off the phone. The guy then the manager calls my agent and says, yeah, I'm canceling all further bookings with this band. I'm not going to deal with this. They should be doing their gig. They're reneging on the contract. So not only are they not playing tonight, but they're never playing here again. I get a phone call from the agent. You've got to change your mind. You got to go to the gig. And I'm like, I'm dealing with idiots. I said to the agent, once again, I stood by my ground and said, we're not going. I've already told the band we're not going. I've already told the guy at the venue, the manager, we're not going. And I stood by my ground. I didn't go. Now the agent threatens us. Well, if you don't do this, I don't know if I can represent you anymore. I'm like, fine. I am not going to put myself at risk for you, for this other guy. Anyways, turns out it was one of the worst ice storms ever. Accidents like crazy, trees falling down like crazy. And I'm glad that I made the choice that I did. I never did play there again, by the way. They actually stood by their word, but I didn't care, honestly. Don't put yourself in a bad situation and let these agents and venues blackmail you with, if you don't do what I want you to do, we're going to punish you. I don't fall into that trap. I won't tolerate that, and neither should you. So if you're in a band and you run a band, don't put up that crap. Winter's coming soon. Don't put yourself at risk. Anyways, guys, those are my two crazy stories, weather related. We got some weather coming up here probably pretty soon. It's getting windy outside and we're supposed to get a huge rainstorm today. So anyways, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks again for my recent commenters. Please like and subscribe, share this video. Keep drumming. See ya.